Together, together. Zapraszamy na podcast.
Okay, Simon, so thank you for this conversation. I would like to ask you a few questions about eco-leadership, and those questions are coming also from our clients and people from Poland who would like to understand more about this model. So if you could tell us a few differences between eco-leadership model and other approaches to leadership. How is it different and, of course, better than the others?
Okay, first thing to say is hello, Poland, Cześć, and hello, Dagmara. Lovely to see you. So eco-leadership is, I don't think it as better, but I think it as necessary. So there's many other forms of leadership, and we don't say these are not useful. So eco-leadership doesn't say we're the new leadership, everything else is bad. What we say is these other forms of leadership are useful and they need to be used in their context in the right way. But eco-leadership allows you to see how they can be used, how at the whole ecosystem, and see where you need good controller leadership, where you need to control resources and drive change and be very efficient, where you need good people skills, good therapist leadership, and where you need good messiah leadership with good vision. Eco-leadership looks at these things and says, okay, if you're in a car factory, we need this type of leadership. If you're in a hospital, you need this type of leadership. And eco-leadership also enables you to do many other things, which I'll talk about later.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you are saying that eco-leader is aware that different eco-leadership styles are necessary in terms of context and challenges which we focus on business. So how this eco-leadership answers today challenges in business? How it can be useful in terms of, more concrete and specific things?
Yeah, so all businesses are ecosystems. They sit within ecosystems. They have supply chains, they have customers, they have stakeholders, whether it's a hospital, a school, or whether it's a bank, or whether it's a car factory, they all have ecosystems. And for many years, people thought of eco-leadership as about the environment. And I kept on saying, no, it's about the business ecosystems, it's about the organizational ecosystems, about the technological ecosystems, about the financial ecosystems. And now people have caught up with us, Dagmara. Now people understand this. So now everybody is talking about ecosystems. Apple talks about its ecosystem. So they've caught up with us. And for maybe 10 or 15 years, we have been studying how leaders can work optimally and most efficiently in their ecosystems.
Mm-hmm. But still ecosystem is quite a difficult concept. Not everyone are able to understand this, especially if they are managers or people in the organization or on the lower place. And how to make people aware that this eco-leadership is really necessary? How to do this on day by day to make people thinking in this way?
So it depends where you are in your organization. So if you're a chief executive and you're looking at the big picture, that's one thing. If you're a middle manager in an organization, you still have to think about the team you're working with, how the team relates to other teams, how it relates to customer service, how it relates to the financial department. So each team has its own ecosystem. And those relationships are really important. If you want the organization to be successful, those relationships are really, really important. And too often we just think about our own siloed part of the organization.
So this is about thinking wider and about connections and how we impact to each other and the influence of each other.
Yeah, because we live in a very fast-changing world, and wherever you are in the organization, things change fast. So customer choice changes fast, technology changes fast. Suddenly you have AI in the system. And we have to always think about how this affects us and how we can adapt to it.
Mm-hmm. I know that you work with many organizations and you support them in developing this eco-leadership model, introducing to the organization. So what is the recipe of developing eco-leadership in the business organizations? How would you describe this? What is the process? What is needed to be done?
Yeah, well, again, everyone has a different need, but everybody has a similar question. How can we adapt? How can we stay ahead? How can we really have greater impact? All organizations need to be successful. So sometimes people think about this idea as if it's some abstract idea. And yet I work in major banks, in car factories, I work with Microsoft, I worked with HSBC Bank, I work in hospitals, I work in the humanitarian sector, and they all invite me in because they are struggling with this question. How can we be successful? How can we be adaptive when things are changing around us so fast?
Mm-hmm.
And this is why people invite me in. They don't do it for a luxury. They do it because they really need to keep up with changes and keep up fast, and they don't know how to do it.
So what is the, let's say, the most powerful thing about eco-leader in coping with those changes, with those dynamics, with those challenges today?
Well, a few things. One is a recognition that relationships are really important.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm working currently in a major car manufacturer, and for years it's all been focused on technology, and they focus on the production line and how they can maximize efficiency. And now suddenly they find themselves in global supply chains, trying to make electric cars, which means you have to partner with Google or some other big software company. You have to partner with a battery making company. And suddenly they find themselves, they can't control the process anymore. They have to work in this wider ecosystem. And they're not skilled at this. So they invite me in to help train their managers how to be skilled in this.
Okay. Is it successful in the end?
I'm halfway through, so we will find out. But there is always a struggle. There is always a struggle because organizations often say, we like the ideas, we know we have to change, but they can be very, very stubborn when it comes to changing. So it takes a lot of work. But it's not what I say to them, like I said to you at the very beginning, it's not saying forget everything else and change and become like this. It's saying build on your strengths. You need these other types of leadership anyway, but have this other perspective, because this other perspective will help you be more strategic, more smart, more adaptive, more successful.
Sure. So going further with this, what is the critical condition for developing this approach in the organization? What organization, let's say, in general, and people in the organization need to focus on or have what kind of approach to be able to implement eco-leadership approach?
I mean, you need some champions in your organization who understand that they need to change. So not everybody needs to understand, but you need a few champions, somebody who can support your work. And then what I usually do is I go into an organization and I don't do big academic talks. I get them to map out their ecosystem. So we draw maps of their ecosystems. And once you draw a map of your ecosystem, you find people saying, yeah, I should be connecting to so-and-so more. We need to build more trust between ourselves and our suppliers because it's breaking down. And they start to see these relationships and these connections and where they can make a difference. And suddenly it makes real sense. It's a very grounded approach.
You said trust. This is one of the biggest challenges when I'm observing the boards and the teams in business. So how does eco-leadership support to develop this trust?
Because it's very relational, it's always thinking about the other. It's always thinking about the person you're working with. So rather than just thinking about a policy or about our team, it's thinking about how our team relates to another team, how our team relates to the senior management, how our team can relate to our customers. So these relationships, it's all about collaboration, and it's about trust, and about building successful partnerships.
And common responsibility as well, because we impact to each other. And if I understand how my work impact to the work of the others parts of organization, I'm more aware how to manage these relationships as well.
Yeah, and we have this idea of shared value. So rather than me trying to maximize my value, before everyone used to maximize their own value, but now people realize that if you can create shared value, when both parties are getting good value, both parties feel it's benefiting them, you have a much better working relationship, a much more chance of success.
Is it possible to implement eco-leadership model in a very hierarchy organization, or is not possible then?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do at the moment.
Okay.
but what I say, people, there's books written about like re-engineering leadership, reimagining leadership by Lalou. There's these different books, and everyone thinks you suddenly get a nice flat hierarchy and everyone's equal. And I don't say that. I say, in an organization, you need hierarchy. In some organizations, you need it more than others. In some industries, manufacturing industries, you need strong control, you need hierarchies, but they are part of an ecosystem. It's not either or. It's not like you have an ecosystem and a hierarchy. You have a hierarchy in an ecosystem. The question then is like, how can you maximize the efficiency within the ecosystem?
And how you can maximize the efficiency in this way?
Well, for example, you would say to them, we're not asking you to remove the hierarchy, but we are asking you to distribute leadership more. We are asking you to help decision-making go lower down the chain, because the lower down the chain, the more decision-making can be made, the better the decisions. So if you're closer to a customer, you make a better decision than at the center, because you're out of the context. So we give them a reasonable argument. We don't say get rid of it. We say just distribute some of the power and autonomy to different areas, and you will be a stronger organization.
Okay. So where should you start developing eco-leadership in this kind of organization? From the very top or from the bottom to up?
You can start anywhere, because in an ecosystem, there's not a top and a bottom.
Okay.
So
but in hierarchy it is.
In a hierarchy, so if you can decide to start with the top of an organization and try and help them understand the change, and then they can allow you to go through the system. But you can also start at the edge of an organization. So in the health sector in England, the National Health Service is the biggest employer in the whole of Europe. And they bring me in. I'm not going to work with a very senior chief executive of the whole of Europe, but I am going to work with the edge. So I will work with some clinical managers, and we will look at how they can make changes for their patients, and for they will have to work with the physiotherapists, with the doctors, with the nurses, with the families, with the patients. How can they improve their work with their technology? How can they make their own small ecosystem improve, and then spread that virally through the system? So when they learn, we talk a lot about learning from each other. So how to share best practice across an ecosystem. So you can start anywhere actually in an ecosystem.
So when I'm talking to leaders nowadays, I can observe that we have great crisis of leadership in general, because people don't want to be in this role so quickly and so nicely anymore, because of so many challenges and because of complexity of this role. How eco-leadership answers this challenge?
Well, as you know, I'm a student of psychology and psychoanalysis, so this is very important, because when we're faced with the anxiety and the stress of working in a very complex system, you need to be able to think in the face of anxiety and make some good decisions. And part of what we do is say, in any ecosystem, you need spaces of psychological safety. You need spaces where you can think. So we help them run meetings where they can have think tanks, where they can have innovation meetings, where they can have creative meetings. And we offer coaching, individual coaching, we offer team coaching. these are all parts of our work. So we understand that you need to support leaders in these very challenging positions and give them thinking spaces so they can make really good decisions. And that's coaching, team coaching, training sessions, support sessions, etc.
Mm-hmm. So in the end, this is also quite a big change in my own perspective, in my own maybe not personality, but attitude to being a leader in the end. So
Yeah.
the beginning is in personal development.
Yeah, we have to. You have to first manage your own anxiety and learn about your strengths and your own challenges and get support with that. And also trying to think more openly. Many businesses and organizations are very short-term thinking, very goal-focused thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that, and that's not going to change. We need, you need results. You need to kind of produce results. We understand that. But also, on top of that, if you can look at a longer term strategy for yourself or for your team or for your organization, you have a much better chance of success.
Okay. So in terms of personal development, we will see in September in a workshop in Warsaw, what will be the best thing, this cherry on the top of this workshop, what you are inviting for our Polish managers?
Well, one, we'll be learning from each other. So we'll be sharing with a great group of people, and we'll be learning from each other, and we'll be building relationships. And two, I think you'll find your eyes will be open to some very new and exciting ways of working. And that's what happens when you come to our workshop. So we'll be looking forward to working with you.
Okay. Let's say one of the best effects for leaders after this workshop, the biggest takeaway according to you, what it will be or could be?
Yeah, what I find is that people who often feel stuck or feel that they don't know which direction to turn, they really find an exciting chance to do something different because we do ecosystem mapping, because we look at where change can take place. They come away and they don't feel so stuck or so trapped. They can say, okay, now I have a direction where I can really make a change, make a difference for themselves and for their workplace. So there's personal development and there's workplace development. And they come away energized and feeling excited about the opportunities.
Okay, because I took part in this kind of workshops with you, so I really believe that it will be great. As far as I understand, it will be the possibility to look at yourself, at your team, at your organization from many different perspectives, with many different angles and with many, let's say, different approaches to being a leader. Because as you said, the eco-leader is this top, on top of everything. So we will experience different attitudes, approaches to leadership as well.
That's right. Yeah, we have different lenses to look at leadership through, and you'll recognize we'll give you a questionnaire to think about your own leadership, and we'll do some analysis with you, and you'll learn about your own leadership, your leadership of your workplace, and what kind of leadership you need to go forward.
Mm-hmm. Great. So just to sum up, why we should be there in September?
Because the world needs eco-leadership, because the world needs leaders who can really understand that to lead change in their organization, they have to understand how to influence their ecosystems. Mm-hmm. And we can really help you with that. And it will make a real difference to your workplace and to yourself.
Thank you very much, Simon. I'm really looking forward to see you in September in Warsaw.
I'm looking forward to it too. Take care.
Thanks.
Dziękujemy za wysłuchanie. To był podcast Together. Po więcej informacji zapraszamy na naszą stronę. Link znajdziecie w opisie.